to learn, earn, and live better, that's exactly what Redken has shown me. So I hope today that I can share with you the inspiration and knowledge that Redken has given me as a stylist. My name is Kelly Brewer, and I've been a stylist in the St. Louis area for 17 years. I'm an aspiring Redken artist because Redken is an innovative, fashion-forward, and consistent company. I've always been very passionate about education. I know that Redken is my go-to company because I know that when I go to a Redken class, I will learn a technique that I can take back to the salon to make my guests feel and look great. Also, a technique that I can take back and share with my coworkers. Okay, today I'd like to share with you a technique that I learned at the Redken Academy here in St. Louis. It's called ponyage à trois, and it's a great technique and easy to do for the ombre and like soft blurred color lines that we've been seeing in today's trends. So I'm going to use Erica here as my guest. On the left hand side of Erica's hair, I'm going to create an ombre look. On the right hand side, I'm going to create more of a balayage look for her. So for Erica today, we prepped her with pre-art, which is an awesome tool to use to clarify the hair and remove impurities, product buildup. Also, it's a great product to use for your guests that have those stubborn grays that won't cover. This is a tool that I always go to for that because it does open up that cuticle and helps the color penetrate better into the hair shaft. So to use pre-art, you're going to rinse your client's hair and you're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes. If they have extra buildup or they live in an area with well water or something like that, you can put them under the dryer for 5 to 10 minutes. After the 5 minutes with Erica, I rinsed her hair with hair cleansing cream, lathering it very gently onto the hair to remove the pre-art. Then I also prepped her and did a global application from zones 1 to 3 using Shades Cream 06 BC and Shades Cream 06 CR with 10 volume peroxide cream developer. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start on Erica. I'm going to go ahead and section her from front to back since we're going to be using both sides of her hair. Okay, on the left-hand side, I'm going to create the ombre effect using the ponyage à trois technique that I discovered. So I'm going to go ahead and just move this hair out of the way. Flip that right out of the way there. Okay, and then on her left-hand side here, I'm going to section from the high point of the head to the top of the ear. I'm going to go ahead and flip this back section out of the way. And I love this technique because it's so easy to do. So we're going to go ahead and create a ponytail. And with the ombre effect, I'm going to use a lower ponytail. Because what I've discovered in this technique is where you place your ponytail, how low or how high your color will move up accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and take an elastic and I'm going to wrap that around about 2 or 3 times. I found that if you wrap it too tight, it can give you a harder line at your finish. So once we have that elastic wrapped, we're going to go ahead and over direct, which is called splaying. I'm going to go ahead and splay Erica's hair up, over directing it into the ponytail. And why you're doing that is because you want the hair to diffuse within the ponytail so that when you take off your color, it's going to leave a nice soft blurred line. going to go ahead and take my next ponytail here. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and take the elastic and wrap it 2 to 3 times around, still leaving it low. And then once again, I'm going to go ahead and splay that. Settle down, Erica. Okay, so once you're finished, if you were doing the ombre technique on a full head, you would have 4 ponytails. But since we're just going to do the ombre technique on the left side of the head, I'm just going to leave it at 2 ponytails for right now. Okay, and then on the right-hand side of the head, I'm going to go ahead and section, starting at the peripheral line here. I'm going to section that top section of hair out of the way. Just kind of clipping that out of the way. And then separating from front to back, once again at the ear. Now, another thing to remember when doing this, if the client has thick hair, you're going to want to take a bigger ponytail. If they have fine textured hair, you're going to want to take a smaller ponytail. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap 2 to 3 times around the ponytail. And then I'm going to go ahead and splay that upwards, over directing it. I'm going to go ahead and do a lower ponytail here in the back, so that as the hair falls from top to bottom, it would create a nice soft look. Okay, we're going to go ahead and splay that up again. Okay, now at the top section of the hair, what we're doing differently from the left side of the head, since we want to give that more of a balayage effect, we want to have more color running through this area of the hair. So I'm going to go ahead, we have our 2 ponytails down here, and I'm going to go ahead and split this once again from front to back. Now this section of hair, I'm going to take up at a 90-degree angle, because I want that hair, or I want that color to lay closer to the root area and to give it that balayage effect. I'm going to move my tray. So taking the hair at a 90-degree angle, I'm going to go ahead and wrap once again 2 to 3 times. And I'm going to go ahead and over direct and splay that hair into the opposite direction, so that will give us that soft, blurred effect. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same in the back quadrant. Lifting it at a 90-degree angle. Okay, So now that we have Erica sectioned off, we're going to do the ombre technique on the left-hand side and a balayage technique on the right-hand side. It will give a balayage effect. So to do that, I'm going to use Redken Flash Lift. And I like using Redken Flash Lift because it does process quite a bit faster and has up to 8 levels of lift. So I'm going to do 1 scoop of lightener with 1 ounce of 30 volume. We're going to go ahead and mix that up to a creamy consistency. Okay. So another key to this technique is your product saturation. You do not want to oversaturate the product into the hair because that can cause hard lines when you're trying to create a soft, blurred line. And one thing that I've discovered is that it's easiest to take the hair and kind of take, especially on the density of the hair and the thickness, it's easier to take and split that hair into 2 or 3 sections depending on how thick your guest hair is. So all we're going to do is clip that hair out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and take our flash lift. On the first third of the hair, we're going to go ahead and make sure that is saturated from front to back. Then we're going to put our brush at a vertical angle and work that product through. Not quite front to back, but a little bit more than your first section. Then we're going to go ahead and take our brush and blur the rest of that excess product up to the ponytail, or up to your elastic. Once you're done with that, you just take your hands and kind of work the product through from top to bottom. We're going to go ahead and take our next little section of the ponytail, which Erica's hair is not too thick here, so we can go ahead and just break that down into 2 sections. Once again, I'm going to saturate that first third of the hair, front to back. And you can do that by checking, flipping the hair over to make sure that it is saturated. Less product in this technique is better. So we're going to go ahead and work that product through on your second third. And then kind of blurring up into the third section of that ponytail. And then once you've gotten that, your 2 sections finished, you can kind of combine the 2 and just gently blur that color together. And to make sure your color stays fresh, you can take a foil, fold it in half, lay the ponytail right inside the foil, and then go ahead and just fold it into like an accordion type position, so that it stays moist and it stays out of your client's reach. so that they don't sit there and try to play with their hair. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the same on the next section. So I'm going to go ahead and take and break that into 2 different sections, clipping the first section out of the way. And I love this technique too because you can be as creative with it as you want. If you wanted more of a subtle ombre, then you could break down using a horseshoe parting in the beginning so that you have just a nice subtle ombre effect when you're done. Once again, we're going to just softly blur that up to the elastic. And another thing to remember too when doing this technique is that you want to make sure you know where your client's hair is going to lay. Because if they have longer layers or mid-length layers, you want to make sure that it's all going to flow for your end result. So if they have mid-length layers, you may want to take your top section and do like not completely saturate the first section of the hair, but just blur it into the hair so that whenever you're finished, you have a nice soft flowing result. Okay, I'm going to take the 2 and blur them together. And then go ahead and wrap with the foil. Okay, so this is what we would do if we wanted to create the ombre effect. We would do 4 ponytails, 1 on each side, and then 1 in each quadrant of the back of the head. But since we're creating 2 different looks here, I'm going to go ahead and show you now. The same technique, just placing your ponytails in different areas to create more of a balayage effect. Once again, we're going to go ahead and separate that into 2 sections. Bring that back up there. Clipping the hair out of the way. We're going to saturate the first section of the hair once again. Working up the hair, we're going to saturate just a little bit more. I'm going to get just a little bit more product because that is drying out just a little bit. And then we're going to blur that up to the elastic. Okay, we're going to kind of blend that together. Now, I know there's a lot of different ways you can achieve this look, but I found that this is such an easy efficient way to achieve this look. And it also brings interest into the salon so that people are asking, what is she doing over there? Why does she have all those ponytails in her hair? So it's kind of fun too, for something different. Okay, so we're going to continue to saturate the hair. And it's good to have your lightener more of a creamy consistency so that the lightener spreads easier. Because if it's too dry, it doesn't spread as efficiently and can cause problems in the end for you. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to work at the top in the crown section, and this is what's going to create that balayage effect. Since we held our ponytails at a 90-degree angle, it's going to make that color lay closer to this root area. Okay, so we're just going to take that, keeping it out of your client's face. Now work that color through. Add a foil. Okay, and this is our last section. So essentially, pony agitois means 3, but which technically you could do with just 3 ponytails if you wanted to create a soft, subtle ombre effect. But here, as you can see, we can use more than just 3 ponytails to be creative and create different looks. So depending on what your guest is wanting, you can use and create and be as creative with this technique as you want. The most important thing is to remember where the color is going to live and how it's going to flow when you're done. Okay, so now we will let her process and bring her up to a pale yellow so that we can put a glaze on her to create a soft subtle blonde highlight mixed with her reddish auburn fall color. Okay, so Erica processed for about 20 minutes, and once she was done processing, we took her back to the shampoo bowl and we shampooed her with Color Extend shampoo, followed by a extreme chemistry shot. Once she was done with her shampoo and her extreme chemistry shot, I took her back, blew her dry. Then I applied 1 ounce of 09G and 1 ounce of clear shades of Q with 2 ounces of processing solution. I ended up putting a glaze on her just to even out her color and to add some shine. So once she was done processing for 20 minutes with her shades of Q, we then again shampooed her with Redken Color Extend, and then followed by a Redken Color Extend chemistry shot, leaving it on for 5 minutes, following it up with a 3.5 shot fixed phase, rinsing, and then conditioning with Redken Color Extend conditioner. Once she was complete with all that, we went ahead and blew her dry, and what I used to blow her dry, before I started her blow dry, I used the Pillow Proof blow dry spray, primer spray, which helps to reduce your blow drying time. It helps to set your style, and it is also a thermal protectant as well against your blow dryer and any hot tools you might use. So I sprayed a few sprays of that throughout her hair, working it through her hair, and then I followed up with Redken Mess Around because I wanted her to have a very soft style. So what the Mess Around does is just gives you a little bit of very soft texture. So once we were done with the Mess Around, actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Before I applied Mess Around, I applied Diamond Oil and worked that throughout her hair to give her hair the vitamins that she needs on a daily basis. Then I followed up with the Mess Around. Once we were done blow drying, I just took my large barrel curling iron and just applied a few soft curls to the ends just to give her that real nice soft finish. For a little bit of hold, I followed up with Control Addict. So now that she is done with all of her styling, I want to show you the difference between the two techniques that are the two sides of the technique that we did. We used the same technique, the ponyage à trois, on both sides, just using different methods of getting where we were getting. So on this first side, our left-hand side was the side that we used the two lower ponytails to create an ombre effect. So you can see in her hair the real soft, subtle, blurred lines that those ponytails, splaying those ponytails have created and given us to give her that ombre effect. On the right side, where we did the two lower ponytails, but then also did the two ponytails in her crown area at a 90-degree angle, has moved the color up her head just a little bit, giving it more of a balayage type effect. So I hope that this is a technique that you can use in the salon and will make your application a lot easier. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this video with you. And I hope that I have inspired you and have given you some knowledge today that you as well can take back to the salon. Once again, I'd like to thank Redken for being such an innovative and inspiring and creative company. Thank you.